into that, so I'm not sure why it stopped recording. Should be starting to record again now. Okay, it started again now. I'm not sure what happened there though. Right, but as I was saying, class, if you look at it, the pointers that we look for in when you do a text indent is make sure that the level below a certain level is indented slightly. In other words, foundation, walls, roofing. And then the levels within that sub-level will be indented further like that, where trench is now a level of foundation, which is internal level of housing. Plaster is a level of walls, which is internal level of house as well. Same with plastic or tiles. That's how you'll read that. Right. Now, the whole idea of doing the WBS is, as I said, you to break the components into break the project into into manageable components. It's to break your project into manageable components. Now, you'll all agree that if I had to go and price what the trench is going to cost me, it'll be much easier than pricing house at one go. I price how much brickwork, it'll be much easier than pricing the whole of the walls. So as you start breaking it down into lower levels, you'll notice it does make planning and costing very, very much easier. Right, that's the whole idea of doing a work breakdown structure. Now that's the work breakdown structure, and this same information is then, in order for you to plan a project properly, you need to, first thing that you need to know is how long is that project going to take you. If you know how long it's going to take you, then when you start building it, you can then start allocating what sort of costing you're going to be anticipating, what labor you require, and so on. And in order to do that, the next step is what we refer to as the network diagram, and we do a Gantt chart to show you the actual planning of each activity. Now, the network diagram, if I had to do a network diagram here very, very quickly, you'll notice that the network diagram actually sits in what we refer to as an activity box, because each one of them is an activity. Each one, trenching, concrete, brickwork, all are activities. We refer to those as activities. And what we normally do is, in order to show the duration, we go into an activity box, and this is typically what an activity box looks like, and I'm going to show you all the right. There's the activity box there, the typical activity box, and it's going to be a, sorry, why did it come so much? It's supposed to be a 3 by 3, my apologies. Right, so an activity box is normally a 3 by 3 cell, exactly like what you're seeing here, a 3 by 3 cell. And in the first cell there on the top there, okay, let's just label it here. I'm just going to put it down there, activity box. Right, your activity box. In the first cell here is what we call ES. Anybody thinks they know what ES stands for? Anyone? Anybody? What do you think ES stands for when we look at engineering management or managing projects? I'm going to tell you what it is. The first one, it actually refers to early start. So anybody? What do you think EF would then mean? Anyone?
Early finish.
Yes, very good. Early finish, isn't it so? We got our early start, early finish. Now that basically depicts the earliest possible time an activity can start and the earliest possible time an activity can finish based on the duration and so on. And then at the bottom there, we put what we refer to as late start and late finish. Those are basically the latest possible time an activity can start and the latest possible time an activity is allowed to finish, because you cannot finish beyond the designated time. In other words, if you were given 3 months to do the activity, you can't go and finish beyond that. If you do, you're liable to penalties, right, for late finish, or as we say, commonly referred for delaying the project. You're liable for penalty. So we don't. Sorry, what I put late start, late finish. Why did I say early start? Right. So sorry. There we go. We got our early start, early finish, late start, late finish. Right. Those are the outermost cells that we use for. That cell there in the beginning there is what we refer to as the activity ID. Hey. That is the ID, or commonly referred to as the activity ID. Active ID. Right, that's what we call the activity ID. Right, and then next to that is the duration. Next to that is the duration of the activity. 5 days, 6 days, 10 days, or whatever it takes. Right, and below at the bottom here, we actually put what we call the float. Now, below that goes the float. Right, that's a typical activity box showing you early start, early finish, late start, late finish. Activity ID, which commonly we use the letters A, B, C, D, and so on, right, for activity ID. And then we normally put a legend. We'll put a legend to tell you what's A, what's B, what's C, and so on, right? And the duration of each activity is then shown there like that, right, in that block. And then what is float? Now, float is normally some activities, you finish them today, you need to start the next activity tomorrow without any delay or anything. You need to start it. If you start it the day after, you're more than likely going to finish late and you'll be charged penalties. But there are some activities that you'll finish today, but the activity that's following doesn't need to start tomorrow. It can start the day after or 3 days down the line. That's what we refer to float. Float is the time or the leeway that you have from an activity finishing to the time that the next activity starts, right? And then we also have what we refer to as relationship between our activities, right? That's the activity box, and I'm just going to show you. We have the very basic relationship between an activity is what we refer to as a finish to start relationship, right? A finish to start exactly like this, and I'm going to show you what we mean by that, where an activity okay, I'm just going to put the arrow there. Right. Now, that relationship where we have a finish to start, meaning that when that activity finishes, then only can the other activity start. So that's what we refer to as the finish to start, commonly referred to F to S, finish to start relationship on that one. Then we have an activity where we got one like that. Now let me just put it there. And you got another activity, let's say, down there. And this is commonly what we refer to as a, let me just put the arrows quickly for you. If you look at that, anyone can tell me what you think? What type of relationship is that? Anybody, what type of relationship do you think that is? Anyone?
Start to start.
Very good. That is the start to start. That is the start to start relationship, S to S. And not very common, but you can also get what we refer to as a finish to finish, where the back of each activity is linked to the back of another. That would be a finish to finish. So basically, when it links the back of one to the front of another, we refer to that as finish to start, where front of one activity to the front of the other is start to start, and not common. That's why I'm not going to this thing, but you can get a finish to finish as well. Not very, very common, but start to start is very common, where you want two activities to start at the same time, right? That's a common, another very common type of link between the activities, right? Now, I'm gonna leave it at that for today. However, oh, sorry. Today is our double. Sorry. I'm thinking today is a single. Let's rather, okay, I'll go to the next part. Tomorrow is a single. Sorry. Right. Sorry about that, class. I forgot tomorrow is the single lecture. Right. Now, what I'm going to do very quickly is I'm going to now look at the actual network diagram. A network diagram is basically what you're seeing here, where we put all the activities and we try and link them together, and then we can determine how long a task would take us. Right. Now, if I had to do a quick, very basic network diagram for this same project very quickly, I'm going to just run that through all the way down to there. And let's say we're going to have the, right. I'm going to say, let's call that activity there A, trenching, A. I'm going to call this B. I'm going to call brickwork C, D for that, E for paint, F for rafters, we've got plastic FG, H for tiles. Let's leave it at that, right? So basically what I'm doing now, class, is I've just gone and done my legend very quickly, exactly the same as you would normally do a separate legend. Now I'm saying to you that there's our activities. Yeah, A is trenching, B is pouring the concrete, C is brickwork, D is paint, D is plaster, E is paint, F rafters, G is plastic, H is putting in the tile, roof tiles. Now, firstly, I'm going to start with the first one, which I'm going to just start here somewhere. Right, I'm going to start with that activity here, which we called A, and we're going to say A has got a duration of, let's say trenching is going to take, I'm just saying for argument's sake, it's going to take us 4 days to do the trenching. There we go, activity A, which we know is trenching now, it's going to take us 4 days. Similarly, I say once I'm finished with the trenching, I'm going to start with my, sorry class, the cell widths are all different, but doesn't really matter. I'm going to start with my B, which is now my concreting, and I'm going to say, let's say concrete is going to take us 7 days. And I'm going to have a finish to start link here. Meaning that when I finish the trenching, I'm going to start with the concreting. Right, there we go, I've got those two. Then I'm going to go further and I'm going to put in, after concreting, we're going to start the brickwork after I do the concreting. But I'm saying to you that okay, let's just put here C, which is our brickwork, and let's just say C is going to take us another 22 days for argument's sake. Right, but I also want to show you something quickly. Let me just show you the link here first of all. There's our link here. It's saying to us that, listen, when we finish the concreting, we're going to start the brickwork. The concreting was for the foundation. We're going to start the brickwork. But I'm also saying to you that, listen, I'm going to have what we refer to as a lag. I'm going to put a lag here of lag. When we say lag plus, let's just say that 2. So meaning that, well, basically what I'm saying here is that when I pour the concrete, I can't go and start the brickwork immediately. I need to wait 2 days at least for the concrete to dry. Then only I can start laying bricks, because I don't want the bricks to start sinking or bricks to start falling on one end because the concrete is not cured properly. So we call that a lag, meaning that When I finish that, I need to wait for 2 days before I can start the brickwork. So you put the lag on the arrow, you show the lag there. And I'm going to show you something now. Lag, then we also have something that we refer to as lead. You got a lag and you have a lead. Lead is always negative, meaning that, let's say I started something, like I'm starting the trenching now. Now I don't have to wait for 4 days before I start pouring the concrete, because as the guys are digging, if it, let's say, dug 10 meters of trenching, I can start pouring the concrete for the 10 meters if I wanted to. And he carries on digging, and then tomorrow he's dug another, by the end of the day, he's dug another, let's say 30 meters. Tomorrow I'll pour concrete for that and carry on. Meaning that I don't have to wait for the full, all the concreting is going to take me 4 days. I don't have to wait for the full 4 days before I start. Trenching, let's say trenching is going to take me 4 days. I do not have to wait for the 4 days for trenching to finish before I start pouring the concrete. So that would mean that I'll have a lead time. Maybe after 1 day, I can start pouring my concrete and so on. But I'm not going to confuse you now. Let's work with lag only now. We'll look at leads in later on, right? But I'm going to show you very quickly. Let's say that was a 4-day activity. That's a 7-day. That's another 22-day activity, right? Now, I said I'm going to do the trenching. I'm going to do the concrete. I'm going to pour. Then I'm going to start doing the brickwork. But now you'll notice that I don't want to start the plaster or the painting. I could start the plaster if I wanted to now, but I don't want to for a reason, because if my brickwork is up, I start the plastering now, and if it rains tonight, I might have a problem. That plaster all might drop off. So what I decided is, after my brickwork is up, I can go and start doing my roofing. You all agree? There's no problem. I can do that, and then later on I can do my plastering and my painting or whatever I need to. Right? So in a case like that, what I'm going to do, sorry class, I just want to move slightly up here, I think so. Let me just move this down by about 2 cells or so. Right, okay, that's fine. I just moved it slightly down because I wanted it to show you what's happening here. Right, just to move up a little bit now. Now I'm saying to you that, actually go another. Right, as I was saying, let's look at this very quickly now. I'm going activity A, I said you that's the trench. B, we're going to pour concrete, but then we need to wait for 2 days before we start the brickwork. Right, before I start the plaster now, so in other words, after I'm doing the brickwork, I have to finish all of the brickwork, and then I'm going to put in my roof. I want to start with the roof. So which means, I'm just going to see. Now we know we said the rafters was, if you look at that, I need to start the rafters, which is activity F. I'm going to start activity F after that, right? So we go there and I say insert there, right? But that I want to do is F, and I need to do, let's say the rafters is going to take me, for argument's sake, another 5 days, right? So I got rafters there. Same story. I'm going to put insert my link there. Right. So there we go. We got, after we've done the brickwork, we want to put in the rafters, which we said is F. Right. Then I'm going to put in the plastic thereafter. So I'm going to go there and I'm going to put in the plastic. I'm just going, class, just for just so that we can get the whole thing to fit on here. I'm just going to just reduce the column width here. Sorry, if not, it's running too much out of the sheet. But just for clarity there, right? You can basically all see what's happening there. Run F, and then I said after we've done the rafters, we're going to put in the plastic, which I'm calling G. And let's say the plastic is going to take us another 2 days, right? Let's go copy this and put it there. Right. So there we go. We got, I've got A, I've got B, I've got C, I've got F, and then G, which is now I said was the plastic. And you'll notice now, I only want to do the tiles after that, which is H. And let's say the tiles is going to take us another 8 days to do the actual roof tiles. Now, when I've finished to the roof tiles, then only I want to start the plastering. Then only I want to start the plastering. Now, although this network diagram that I'm referring to is not to scale, it doesn't have to be to scale, but we show some form of timeline from left to right. I mean, in other words, early activities will be to the left. As you're going to the right, they start later in time, in terms of time, later on in the project. So I said we got H, I told you, which is now the tiles that's going to go there. And then after the tiles is done, then I'm going to look at doing my plastering, which I'm going to call in this instance plaster. We said was D, and I'm going to, let's say plastering is going to take us 10 days. Right after I've done the roof tiles, then only I want to do the plastering, because if it rains or anything, I know I'm on the safe side, which normally happens on any project. But because I'm showing that, you'll all agree, the first thing I said is after I've done the okay, let me just paste that there. Right. You'll notice I got an arrow from that one to that, meaning that after that is done, then only I can do that. Right. Similarly, remember that I can only do the plastering after the brickwork is done. You agree? I can't do plastering, so I need to have a link between C and D as well. And that link now between C and D will look like this. Right. Okay, not the most accurate one, but basically what I'm saying, because plastering can only be done after the brickwork is done, I needed to put a link there as well, showing that when the brickwork is finished, then only the plastering can be done. And also when the roof is already completed, then only the plastering can be done. That's why you'll notice that the D goes right down there. And obviously, once I started the plastering, in this case, same story, I'm gonna then go and do my I'm then only going to go and do my painting, which is E for painting, E. And let's say, I'm just saying for argument's sake, the painting takes us another, let's say, 3 days, right? Painting. But also you'll notice that I'm going to have a lag here. Let's give it another 1 day lag, meaning that when I did the plastering, I can't go and paint immediately. I'm just going to say, yeah, we're going to put another lag plus 1 day lag, right? I'll wait for 1 day let the plaster dry a little, and then I can start my painting. Now, that's basically how you would actually. Oh, what happened here? This became very narrow here. That was the 2-day lag that we had there. Right. So if you look at it now, class, that's finished to start. That is finished to start plus 2, meaning finished to start 2-day lag. C to F is a finish to start. F to G is a finish to start. G to H is a finish to start. And then we got a finish to start CH to D, meaning that when that and that is finished, then only that can start D. Okay, that's basically what it means. Finish start CH to D. Those two must be finished in order D to start. Right. If you finish one of them, we don't want to do D. In other words, as soon as I finish C, I don't want to go and do. I have to wait till I finish H, then only I can do D. And then when D is finished, then I got to wait for another day and then start E. That's basically how you interpret this. Class, we'll look at it, the calculation, when I see you tomorrow. But any questions regarding that, class? Anyone? Any questions?
Sir?
Yes, sure.
Sorry, sir.
Yes, go for it.
So I just wanted to ask if
Yeah, sure.
is it necessary to know like the what the
Sorry?
period, like the time, like yeah, so what is it now? But say they must start 3 days or 1 day after something is done.
No. The
No, I
duration
just
will
want to
give
know, is it
you.
necessary to stick on that 2 days, 1 day? If I
No,
say
no,
after
no.
5 days or 4 days.
No, we'll give, sorry, we'll give you the duration. We'll give you all the information. We'll tell you the duration of this activity is this. We'll tell you if there's any lag, there's any lead. We'll tell you everything. We'll tell you the link, which activity it's linked to and so on. I'll show you what you need to do is what we're going to do tomorrow. Basically, just calculate the network diagram. Okay.
Okay,
But we'll
thank
give you all the information. We don't expect you to go and like calculate the durations now. We'll give it to you. Okay.
Sir?
Yes.
So I just want to ask, looking at this soil diagram, does this take into the idea of week planning for via a work week?
Well, yeah. In this instance, you'll notice work weeks are basically depending on your work pattern. A work week is normally Monday to Friday, but sometimes you may include a Saturday in your work pattern. So that's what they refer to as a work week. When you're doing, I know you're probably talking in experience with Microsoft projects or something, where you have to show in the work week and so on. But basically, yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, we're just working. We're going to be working normal Monday to Friday. Yeah. So when I talk about 3 days, I'm talking. Let's say we start on the Monday. I mean, we're going to run Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for an activity. But tomorrow, I'll show you exactly how we're going to calculate and how we look at the work weeks and so on.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, class. If that's is there no other questions, we'll leave it at that. We'll see you tomorrow, and we'll do the calculation there. Right. Take care. Bye. We'll chat to you tomorrow.
Thank you.